tonight on the Final Play.
Here comes the blitz. Burrow steps away from it, throws, catch made! Justin Jefferson has it at the 38, racing down the far line, sideline, 10-5, touchdown Tigers!
LSU goes toe-to-toe with Texas and comes out on top thanks to a historic offensive output.
That's what this offense does.
We're recapping the Tigers' statement win and Tulane's tough road loss, plus a preview of the Saints opener against the Houston Texans. Football season is in full swing, and we've got you covered right here on the Final Play.
From Fox 8 Sports, this is the Final Play, sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealers, built Ford tough, and by Ron Austin Law.
Welcome into the Final Play. I'm Juan Kincaid. The start of the NFL season has to take a back seat to the official start of LSU's push for a national championship, as witnessed last night with their impressive shootout win against Texas in Austin. It also may have been the continuation of Joe Burrow's push for the Heisman. Garland Gillen was there and gets us started tonight.
Last week, Joe Burrow flourished in LSU's new-look offense by throwing for a school record 5 touchdowns. But the detractors said that was against Georgia Southern. Let's see that against Texas. Well, the challenge was accepted and met. Burrow torched the Longhorns to the tune of 471 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Terrace Marshall all topped 100 yards receiving in Austin.
Well, this is the vision that I always had when we took over. And we finally got there. It took a couple of miscues to get there, but we're finally there, and we have the coaches to do it. We have the receivers to do it. We have the quarterback to do it. And we're going to get better. We're going to keep on getting better at this system.
A prime example of why this new offense is a game changer. 3rd and 17, Tigers up only 6. They don't play it safe.
They were playing so well on the other side of the ball. We knew we were going to have to score again. I kept telling our guys, you know, we got to score. We got to get 40 and we'll win. 40 and we'll win. And so we went into that last drive aggressive, and it paid off for us.
Thank God. Thank God. Because, I knew when they get the ball back there, we couldn't stop them. I mean, just to be honest, we couldn't stop them. And they'd have got the ball back, I think it would have been a different story. So it was a phenomenal call, a phenomenal catch, phenomenal play.
We've been working it all week. And, I've been telling Joe, I was like, look, the safeties can't really guard me. So, let's try to, fix something up. So he was like, all right, I got you. So, he seen I was open. I stiff-armed and went in the end zone.
LSU did suffer some bumps and bruises that could linger in the coming weeks, but the experience of winning in hostile territory trumps all problems.
I like it. I don't mind. I like it. Hey, we compete. We got to go out there and compete. And last year we had to compete at Miami. But I'm sure glad we play Northwestern next week.
All right, we're now joined by Brody Miller, the beat writer covering the Tigers for The Athletic. All right, Brody, last week against Georgia Southern, everybody kind of tempered their excitement because it was against Georgia Southern. All right, he did it against a top 10 team in America. Joe Burrow throws 4 touchdown passes against Texas. I guess now the hype is real.
I think the hype is definitely real now. I mean, because also it was more about they kept being under pressure and they kept answering every single time. Texas would bounce back, LSU would answer back. Joe Burrow, in a big moment, looked like one of the better quarterbacks in America right now, and this offense worked every time. Keep in mind, that first quarter, Texas was kind of stopping them. I mean, it wasn't like LSU, so Texas showed they were capable. It wasn't some joke defense, and LSU made adjustments, took off, and Joe Burrow was 31 of 39 for 471 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's the second greatest passing game in LSU history.
And 3 receivers over 100 yards. This is like unheard of. This is like foreign territory for LSU fans to see this many receivers getting this many yards.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, Jamar Chase looked like one of the best receivers in the country right now. Justin Jefferson, you always knew he was Mr. Reliable. He's one of the best route runners in the country, really solid. And then Chase and Marshall, it was always, they're so talented, but can they get there? Can they make that jump? And Jamar Chase, I mean, he saved, it's worth mentioning, Joe Burrow had a few throws that weren't that great, and Jamar Chase would just make a jump ball and just beat some pretty good Texas secondary players. I mean, you have those three, when you have all three of them, plus a solid tight end, Thad Moss and Stephon Sullivan, you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire going out for passes, at least one of them, in theory, should always be open as long as you're protecting. So I think, I mean, as good as Joe Burrow looked, I would still say the receivers are the strength right now.
I know we keep talking about it, but it's hard not to pass up this caveman offense there that they had in the past. 3rd and 17. I mean, that was a play call of the season so far for LSU. In the past, they would just run the ball and punt it. They're going all in. They're going for it. What did you think about the play and the confidence that they have in this offense?
Yeah, Ed Orgeron just told us all the story of basically, he's like, hey, Steve, do you think it's time to go 4-minute offense? And he's like, no, let's keep attacking. And yeah, I think that kind of just shows the culture shift. I think that's the main thing. I mean, the execution of the play was incredible. Clyde Edwards-Helaire said, he's like, that's something I'm going to take to my grave. That was just one of those moments where I'm just like, that was my star quarterback right there. But I just think that was an example of they're changing, you know? They're not going to just try to control the clock and win this game. They're going to just try to attack and beat you, because that's what you have to do in 2019.
2018, 2017, 2016, we're always talking about how the defense is holding up the offense. That wasn't the case tonight. Ellinger torched the LSU defense over 400 yards. This is different for us to see also as a defense. Yeah. Dave Aranda getting worked by another team.
Yeah, and before we even say anything, it's worth mentioning just how good Sam Ellinger is. I mean, he is as good as much as Joe Burrow is going to get more attention this week because he won, but Sam Ellinger was the goods. But I mean, the LSU defense, it seemed like actual problems. It wasn't just, a rough night. I mean, the 4-man pass rush was not getting it going. And then you had guys get injured, so it looked even worse. I mean, you had some, that first Christian Fulton touchdown he gave up to, I apologize, Brendan Eagles. Yeah, I mean, there's just...
Good catch.
Yeah, it was a great play. But, Fulton misplayed that one, jumped too early. He just had a lot of little errors that were actually concerning, and a lot of missed tackles. Even Grant Delpit missed 2 or 3 straight-up tackles. Those are things that might be a little more problematic than we think.
All right, you're looking at the schedule now. You got Northwestern State, then you got Vanderbilt. This team looks like it could go on a big time run here in the future.
Yeah, because as much as I'm talking about the defense, I mean, it's still incredibly talented.
Right.
And yeah, it was kind of, this was the game. It was, all right, we're going to find out if it's for real, as you said. And it's for real. The offense is for real. You know the talent's there on defense, and you proved you could win on a big stage on the road. So, I mean, in a vacuum, LSU should be the favorite in every single game that plays the season except Alabama. And even that, I mean, this offense looked like it can put some work on Alabama. So I just think this was the game that proved, like, oh, this is an actual playoff contender. This is a team that can actually compete for a national title. And now you have, you got Northwestern State coming up, then Vanderbilt. Utah State's a tough one, but you're still probably going to be at least a 10-point favorite there. All of a sudden, you're going to be going into that Alabama-Florida stretch where, Auburn-Florida stretch where it's like, is LSU the number 2 or 3 team in the country? That doesn't seem ridiculous.
And this team, they're going to stay in the top 10. It seems like they can handle the hype. I mean, this was a wild crowd here at Texas. They handled it. Kayla Von Chason was pointing at the scoreboard when fans. It seemed like they just basked in the big time atmosphere against Texas.
That's a really good point, actually. Yeah, because one of those things where, I mean, LSU was kind of getting a little chippy all week, and they were some of the ones kind of starting some of that stuff before the game that we saw. There were at least 3 different scuffles. I mean, they were kind of embracing this little cockiness. And then when the game was over, Joe Burrow was turning to the Texas crowd and waving goodbye. So I think there is a little bit of that. I think last year it was kind of success was new to them. So it was the way they handled it wasn't always right, and it was kind of just trying to prove you belong. And this year it's more of a sense of, LSU thinks that they know it belongs.
All right, that's Brody Miller, The Athletic.
And that win sees LSU jump up 2 spots to number 4 in today's AP poll. They're behind Clemson, Alabama, and Georgia in 4th place. Oklahoma, they're 5th, followed by Ohio State. On the notables page, Auburn, they're at number 8 after beating Tulane. Florida's 9th. Texas dropped from 9th to 12th. And Texas A&M, they fell to 16th after losing to Clemson on the road. And speaking of the Green Wave, head coach Willie Fritz took his men into Auburn's Jordan-Hare Stadium with a pretty solid plan of not backing down against the nationally ranked Tigers and trying to do to them offensively what they did to FIU a week ago. Credit to the Wave for trying to stick to their game plan, but it didn't work. After taking an early 3-0 lead, Tulane's offense began to sputter and stayed that way the rest of the game. Its defense got worn down. And after trailing by just 8 points into the third quarter, Auburn put together a couple of drives, scored the game's final 10 points to win it 24-6. So now we turn the page to next week's schedule. Southeastern will get back to work playing at Ole Miss. Nichols, they're looking for their first win of the season. They'll be on the road at Prairie View A&M. LSU back at home to face Northwestern State. Tulane also back uptown will battle Missouri State. Still to come on the Final Play. On the eve of the Saints season opener, the question is being asked, can the Black and Gold avoid their 6th straight season opening loss? And what's going through the mind of Latavius Murray as he gets set to play his first game as a Saint? He sits down with Sean Vazan when the Final Play continues. And for more on LSU's big win in Austin, check out our Fox 8 Overtime podcast, and episode 66 is where you can listen to all the Tiger talk all the time. You can find our podcast on fox8live.com, the Final Play and Tiger Huddle apps, and of course, wherever you listen to your podcasts.
You're watching the Final Play.
By now, you know the numbers for the Saints when it comes to season openers. The last 5 years, they've lost all 5 games to start the season. Inside the Saints locker room, though, the expectation is that losing streak will come to an end Monday night. And the player that recently sat down with Sean Vazan hopes to have a big hand in the victory.
Our first installment of Sitting Down with Sean is new Saints running back Latavius Murray. Latavius, you know, when I did some research on you when you signed here with the Saints, the thing that kept coming back to me was great locker room guy, great locker room guy. Is that something that you had to learn in the league, or is that something you kind of always had?
I think it's something I always had. I think it's just been a part of who I am, the kind of person I am, and, you know, where I come from and how I was raised, to be honest with you.
As you get acclimated into this new city, new organization, new offense, have you found your groove yet, or are you just kind of waiting? Does it take the regular season to kind of see how it all plays out?
Yeah, I think this first year, just in general, it's just kind of been a learning process, and I think as the season go on, you just kind of continue to find yourself. But for the most part, I'm very comfortable around the guys in the locker room, very comfortable with the coaches. This is my team, this is my family, so but excited to go out there and kick off the season with them for the first time.
Was there anything in particular that excited you the most about signing with the Saints?
Yeah, when you look at the success that they've had over the last few years and just being that close to winning a championship, for me, that's what it's all about. And I know I had an opportunity to do that here, and so, that was my big reason for signing here in the free agency.
So the Who Dat Nation, they love to get to know their Saints players. So let's get to know you a little bit as a person. You went to high school in New York. You went to Central Florida. The recruiting process, how did you end up at Central Florida? I know you had some other Power 5 offers, so how did you end up there?
Yeah, so I played with a guy by the name of Nick Gilbert, and his uncle at the time was down in Central Florida recruiting. But I believe he came up to watch his nephew play, and that's how it so happened. I ended up getting a look from Central Florida all the way up in New York. Once I took a visit, it was kind of like, it's a beautiful place, beautiful campus. Why not come down there and play some football?
Yeah, and it's obviously in a great city as well. Did you follow their run last year, the last couple of years? I know you're probably still proud of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So they've been, that was part of the reason, to be honest, that I went there, is to be a part of history and obviously lay a foundation for the guys to come after. And they've obviously done that, and maybe even took it to another level, to be honest.
You're a big guy, 6'3", tall for a running back. I guess my question is, in your football career, was running back always the position you played, or did you play anything else?
I played linebacker defensively, but Pop Warner, I popped around here and there, fullback, and even was at center for a little bit, right? But
center,
right? No, but running back, that was I don't know, that was it for me. Once I seen Fred Taylor, I was a big fan of Fred Taylor. That's why I wore 28 back in the day and throughout my whole career, and just always wanted to run the ball. That was what I wanted to do. That was what was in my heart. We've
done a lot of these, and I always like to, because you guys are athletes growing up. What was your favorite sport, not football?
Not basketball.
Basketball?
Yeah.
But do you remember your scoring average when you were a senior in high school or anything like that?
When I was a senior, I believe it was 22 points a game. I believe, yeah.
What position did you play?
I played them all. In high school, we had a solid team for the most part, a decent league, but me, I was for the most part a 3, but kind of played a little bit of everything depending on when we needed.
So you went and did a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
All right, we'll kind of wrap it up with this. Do you ever go into a season with specific goals in your mind, or how do you kind of approach a new season?
Yeah, never have numbers in my mind, to be honest, because I don't think, me personally, numbers don't define my improvement. I think deep down, I know what I've done in the past, and I know the kind of runner that I've been, and I know the areas that I could be better at. And personally, I think everyone around the league, if you could really look yourself in the mirror, you truly know what you're good at and what you're not. So, I think for me, how can I improve my game each year? It's going to be something physical. It's going to be something that I know I could do to make me a better runner or better complete back. And for me, that's enough. Even if the numbers don't show, I know deep down, how I could be a better runner overall. And that's what I look at, that I'm getting better every year and improving every year.
And finally, Monday Night Football, season opener. This is a new chapter in your career. How ready are you to just get rolling?
Yeah, I'm excited. Obviously, it's a big stage, Monday Night Football. 2 games that night. Everybody will be watching, but I'm excited for this new chapter, this new journey in my life with this new team, and it starts with a win, obviously.
Right, he is Latavius Murray, new Saints running back. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Right.
We've got you covered for the Saints season opener against the Texans starting at 4 o'clock as Deuce McAllister joins us on the field. Kick off 2 hours of coverage, and then after the game, we've got a live on-location edition of the Black and Gold Review Show with Deuce once again at 10:35. All of that from the Superdome. Coming up on the Final Play, the rest of the NFL kicked off opening day today and tonight, and there were some opening day struggles in the Saints division. We'll go around the NFC South for a recap. And Saints fans who want to see their team spirit on television can head to the Final Play app to submit a picture. Just click the menu, scroll down to the Submit Your Saints Picks page, and from there just follow directions. Tune in throughout the season to see your Who Dat passion on display.
You're watching the Final Play.
NFC South teams didn't catch a break with the schedule makers, including the Saints. 3 of the 4 NFC South teams are beginning their season against the playoff team from a season ago. The Carolina Panthers are in that number as they welcome the LA Rams to Charlotte, and this was a game that the Rams never trailed in, jumping out to a 16-3 lead in the second quarter behind the running of Malcolm Brown, who scored on a 5-yard run. Christian McCaffrey did his best to keep the Panthers in the game. He had a couple of scores today, including this one in the fourth quarter. They got the Panthers to within a field goal, but a late touchdown pass from Jared Goff to Tyler Higbee proved to be the game winner for the Rams. They go on the road and get a win, 30-27 over Carolina.
Yeah, everything felt great. A little rusty. Just got to get on the same page with everybody. But all in all, we had our opportunities today. And I think that's what's the most frustrating part because, you feel that this is your time. When you play this game as long, or you watch the game as long, you realize, you're not going to just keep getting this good field position. You're not just going to keep getting, opportunities left and right. And, I wouldn't say blaming, but it's just all in the game. Nobody has played the perfect game, but, in my position, I wish I could have a couple throws back. But at the end of the day, just being optimistic about it all. We did play a good team. And knowing that we just got to still move forward. I think the most frustrating part about this whole thing,
and talk about tough sledding in the opener. The Falcons got walloped by the Vikings today. It was such a one-sided game that Minnesota quarterback Kirk Cousins said it felt like a youth league game where running the ball and playing good defense usually wins. And it did for the Vikings today. Anthony Harris picked off Matt Ryan twice and also recovered a fumble. And running back Dalvin Cook had 111 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns as the Vikings started the season with a 28-12 win over Atlanta.
Obviously disappointed, with us in all 3 phases today. 3 turnovers and a block punt, all leading to touchdowns, and the inability to create any takeaways when you get into that space is not going to be good. So we knew going in the turnover battle was going to be key, and today was certainly an indication of that.
The Bucs played an afternoon game at San Francisco, and it was an equally tough game for Jameis Winston. Richard Sherman and Ahkello Witherspoon returned 2 of Jameis Winston's 3 interceptions for touchdowns. Sherman got the first one in the 3rd quarter to put the Niners ahead 20-7. Ahkello's came late in the 4th to seal the deal for San Fran. Meanwhile, Niner quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo threw for 166 yards. He also had a 39-yard touchdown pass to Richie James. It was Garoppolo's first game in nearly a year following a knee injury that kept him out most of last season. And he led the Niners to a 31-17 season-opening win over the Bucs.
Obviously not the outcome we were looking for. I think you can come just to one thing, that's turnovers. When we talked all week about winning the turnover battle, and it's 4-2. It's always going to be tough, especially we get a pick 6 and we give up 2. But there's a lot of good things we'll build off of. Short week. It's not going to be easy, but we'll be at work tomorrow and watch this film, learn from it.
And with Sunday's games now in the books, the Saints find themselves in first place. Didn't even have to play a game. Everyone's 0-1. The Saints, of course, play tomorrow night inside the Dome. Up next, our plays of the week are worth hitting the rewind button for.
You're watching the Final Play.
Our play of the week, number 1, takes us back to Austin, where LSU picked up an impressive win against 9th-ranked Texas. The Longhorns, this game-winning touchdown for LSU, worth another look. Joe Burrow to Justin Jefferson, and he does the rest. A sprint to the goal line. Jefferson wins it. It's our Fox 8 play of the week. But we've got another one for you. This one from the high school gridiron. And it comes to us from down in the bayou, where Riverside's Amonte Watkins took this kickoff return right up the middle of the coverage, all the way to the house. Thibodeau may have won the game, but Watkins did his part in the losing effort. Make sure you head over to the Fox 8 News app or fox8live.com, where we have highlights and scores from week 1. Plus, you can catch up on the latest recruiting news, check out our weekly power rankings, and preview next week's action. And that's our show for tonight. For all of us here at Fox 8, I'm Juan Kincaid. We hope you'll join us again next Sunday night for the Final Play.
From Fox 8 Sports, this has been the Final Play. Sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealers, built Ford tough. And by Ron Austin Law.